Well. Like we were right. It's hit the fan. So let's dive in and talk about it. Well, welcome to America's favorite prepper show, the Prepared Mind channel. I can't say that. We're not America's favorite prepping channel. We're America's favorite SHTF channel. No, I don't think we're America's favorite anything, but we certainly are a clearinghouse for all things prepping, all things SHTF, and you know it. We also have, well, the actual clearinghouse for all websites, YouTube channels, etc. into prepping, and that would be the rsyndicate.com. Want to throw a bone out there to Uman, who is the man. Now, we have a lot going on. It is Monday, and they came right out the gates, folks, with a lot of SHTF, stupid, crazy stuff. They hit overdrive. Are you ready? Well, I'm ready. Now, understand this. I get 30 minutes of monologue followed by your questions. So if you're here at the preparedmind.club on the premium side, you're live with me now. If you're on subscribestar.com, you're live with me now. So get your questions into Jolene and we will answer them, talk about them, and go live with it. Now, the news came out. I did the video earlier on the young gentleman who's labeled a good Samaritan for stopping a mass murderer dead in his tracks by using his Second Amendment right to defend himself, others, and America from a criminal scumbag. But guess what, folks? The anti-gunners, they don't like that at all. They don't want to call him a good Samaritan, folks. They're arguing he should not. The term Good Samaritan came from the Bible passage of a man from Samaria who stopped on the side of the road to help a man who was injured and ignored. This is what CBS 4, Justin Collar, the anchor, came up with, right? He tweeted, "I can't believe we live in a world where the term can equally apply to someone killing someone. My God." No, there were people who were dying. I think the Good Samaritan from the New Testament probably, if he had a firearm, would have stopped someone else who was being a mass murdering scumbag. Unbelievable, folks. They look past all the facts, all the information, everything that's relevant. I wonder if this jackass at the news station, I wonder if he would be happy with this Good Samaritan if he had saved his mother or his wife or his husband or whatever he has. Right, his pet squirrel, his gerbil collection. I wonder if he'd be pleased with that. There's no satisfying these socialist pricks, folks, period. Done. They really are. That's exactly what they are, a bunch of pricks. And we live in a clown world full of these people. And I'm going to say it again. I really believe that when the time comes, the good people of this country and indeed around the world, not only should they go take care of business in the government capitals, I think they're going to go to the news stations, radio, television, satellite, cable, whatever the hell they are. I think they're going to go to those stations and they're going to take them over and kick these people out of their chairs because they're not telling us fact or truth. They're giving us their, shall we say, communist belief systems. Okay, let's move on, if we shall, to Clown World Today on Twitter. Posted a Daily Mail story. And the headline reads, "Inside Australia's 4 brand new Cerveza bug concentration camps, they're now sitting empty and unlikely ever to be used since borders are now completely open." Well, I don't care if it costs the Australians $2 billion. What's incredible is that they built, well, I see 5 on this map. 5 concentration camps. Concentration camps to lock Australians in. And now, yeah, Cerveza bug, where'd it go? They're going to pretend, folks. It just go away. That's what they're going to pretend. That's what they're going to shoot for. Like it never existed. Never, ever, ever existed. That's what they're going to shoot for. These people are liars. They're absolute scum, folks. Scum. Okay. Oh my God. What a day. It is Monday, folks. And it's time. It's just absolutely time. All right. Let's get out of this screen. What is going on here? I have device anarchy. There we go. Okay, we titled this one SHTF is in overdrive. Literal overdrive. Folks, it is in overdrive. Get this, John F. Kerry, former presidential candidate for the Democrats in 2004, right? Skull and bones asswipe out of Yale. Mr. P.T. Boat himself. He says that it's time to go into overdrive and accelerate the transition to green energy. Really? Now, this jackass is the perfect person to be in charge of reducing carbon emissions in the United States of America, because he knows probably better than anyone else how to put a lot of carbon out there. He owns several mansions, a mega yacht, and flies in private jets around the world. Not to mention government jets, public jets, making sure we all suck his carbon. Unbelievable. How can we go any faster into overdrive? I mean, have you noticed the fuel bills going sky high? Oh, I think I did. Every time I go to put a little fuel in my vehicle, look out. It hurts. Every time I go shopping for food and I go, what? It costs that now? It hurts. In fact, I saw a little report came out today. Thanks to these Biden policies, which are also the Build Back Better Green New Deal policies that he's ramming down our throat, right? It's costing Americans, on average, $700 a month. That's how much of a pay cut we've all seen. So I don't know how much more overdrive and acceleration we can take. But they're pushing us towards green energy. But guess what, folks? Imagine being told, okay, there's a gas station down there for you, a gas station. And then over here, you got an electric EV recharging station over here. That's the green energy. So sell your car. Don't go to that gas anymore. Now you're going to go to the green energy station. And so you get in your new little electric car and you buzz over there and there's no fuel. There's no energy. There's no electricity. Because they're not creating more electricity, green or not. There's not enough of it. This is the clown world we're in, folks. It is SHTF in overdrive at this point. Completely ridiculous. Everything they want, folks. Everything they're shooting for. I mean, you want some more clown world? It's unbelievable. We had Zelensky, folks. This guy he's just not going away. He really isn't going away. I sure hope you have some topics to talk about. In fact, we got one. Where did it go? We have, oh, this is unbelievable. I just lost it, but it's a big deal. It's a big deal. Typical computer, always losing stuff when we need it most. That's okay. I know right where to find it. You're not going to believe this, folks. Zelensky is firing his people, his top spies. That's right, folks. Voldemort Zelensky. He can't control his own government. He can't control his own people. It's unbelievable what is going on with this clown. Let me pull it up. That's not it. That's not it. Good golly, folks. It's turning out to be one of those days. He has literally hundreds of people have been fired from his administration. Zelensky. Why? Why, you say? Because they can't control them. They're spies for Russia. They're people in their spy industry. This would be like the CIA handing information over to China. Oh, wait. We just might actually have that. It's getting bad, folks. It's really bad. Now, if I remember correctly, there was something like this also happened with the Nazi regime that they had over there in the 1930s, right? The Nazis had to clear out all of their enemies. And no, maybe it was Stalin who had to clear out all of his enemies. Yeah, he killed off, I believe, a third to half of all of his officers. Joseph Stalin, the communist dictator of Russia. It's incredible, folks. When they don't have things go their way, when they get scared, they start arresting and firing their cabinet and people around them. Now, here's the deal. This top level, right, spy agency bureaucrat that worked for Zelensky has been his friend since they were, I believe, 8 years old. Now, is it that you can't trust Putin? Is it that Putin and Russians are that good? Or is it that Zelensky's that bad and he really isn't the leader? Why? I mean, how much more money do we have to give this guy? Is 65 billion not enough for him to win? Is 65 billion not enough money going over there from the United States of America alone, not counting what the rest of the world ships them? It's a money pit, folks. Unbelievable. It is a huge deception. Massive deception. Now, you want massive deception, you say? You want some SHTF overdrive? Dr. Birx. That's right, Dr. Birx of the Birx Fauci 1-2 duo over cerveza bug lockdowns. She has admitted to massive deception. Massive deception. She even wrote it down, folks, put it in a book. Massive deception regarding one of the greatest shams of all time, this cerveza bug crap. Here's what she wrote, quote, "I couldn't do anything that would reveal my true intention." Right there, she lied, right? She wrote, quote, "To use the travel ban as one brick in the construction of a larger wall of protective measures we needed to enact very soon," right? Now, Trump's team was more concerned about the impacts and potential of loss of lives to Americans and shutting down society. But she, folks, crapped all over the Trump administration. Right? That's what she did, folks. She lied to us. She lied to the president. She lied to the people. She lied to the world. Her deception, in my opinion, is part of the Great Reset, folks. Part of the need to destroy the world. And she played her part well. She claims, right, that this deception was used for all of our own good, right? She needs to be tried for treason, in my opinion, and other high crimes. It is unbelievable what this woman is admitting to. She ought to be arrested. A lot of people believe Dr. Fauci ought to be arrested for lying to us, misleading us, and all of the damage that this has caused to economies, to the world. It is unconscionable where they've taken us. And they seem to think it's just fine. It's just fine. No problem. You know, I don't know how they sleep at night. I have no clue. No clue. All right. I've got the story for you on Zelensky. Right. He said, now this is this is some important stuff, folks. This is Reuters, like the Associated Press. It's the premier news agency, Reuters, Associated Press. You have to believe them, right? Details of the president, meaning Zelensky, is they're calling it his rationale behind the move, right? It's come to light that many members of their agencies had collaborated with Russia, a problem that touched many agencies. He said 651 cases of alleged treason and collaboration with Russians had been opened, folks, in Ukraine. How can we trust a government that has 651 agents from Russia working inside of it? Or should we say, how can we trust Ukraine to do the right thing if they're so incompetent that there's 651 cases of treason and collaboration that they discovered? They're not very good, are they? No, right? Unbelievable. Such an array of crimes against the foundations of national security pose very serious questions to the relevant leaders. I believe that all of these cases pose a very serious question to the relevance of Zelensky and Ukraine itself. The country, folks, is called the most corrupt country on the planet for many, many reasons. And this is a major, major reason. Now, where do we go? Where do we go with this, right? Joe Rogan. Let's just do this. Who's speaking the truth? Who's speaking facts out there? Who's reaching out to Americans, Canadians, Europeans, and talking about freedom and rights and what is being done by these globalist scum? Well, of course, yours truly, and you truly are spreading the word. That's why coming here to thepreparedmind.club and to subscribestar.com does a tremendous amount of good for the world, because we share the internet address. We give people the address so they can start learning other information. Now, I want to say you're the man to Joe Rogan. Free speech, he's over the target now, folks. But I want him to step up and do Biden. But for now, he says Canada is communist. And he called Trudeau a fucking dictator. Now, obviously, Joe Rogan has a bigger audience than I do. Good. I want people to wake up to what's going on. Now, see, if I call Trudeau a communist and say he looks suspiciously like Fidel Castro, that's right, communist dictator of Cuba for what, 50 years? I think that, Joe Rogan is really saying something important here and getting people to pay attention. Canada is communist. There's got to be some point, folks, where you go from freedom to socialism, and then socialism, it's just a quick step to communism, folks. All these entitlements and taxes, and the state owns you, and the government can tell you what to do, and they can demand this and require that. That is all communist crap. That's all authoritarian, socialist bilge and garbage. Now, in our country, in the United States of America, we have the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. Not interdependence, not the Declaration of Entitlement, the Declaration of Independence, where inalienable rights are discussed. That's us, folks. And right now in our government, in Washington, D.C., I'd love to point at Canada and say, they're sick bastards. They're really messed up. Well, Washington, D.C. is the exact same. The only thing that's stopping them, folks, is the Constitution and your unwillingness to lay down and kiss their feet. But there's something really wrong with these bastards, folks. Right? The Assistant Secretary of Health, the Dr. Levine, Biden's transgender hero, says we need to, quote, empower children to go on puberty blockers. Kids can barely describe what their favorite color is. Kids don't have any idea what they're going to do in life for a career, much less understand the profound, deep importance of growing up as who you are. Instead, no. This person, folks, these are some sick bastards. I wish the problem was just Canada or just Europe, but they're in Washington. Empower children to go on puberty blockers. How is that going to help any problem other than, well, I'll tell you what it does help. The globalists who have a sick desire to kill us off, to destroy lives. Basically, they're manufacturing eunuchs. And they're not intelligent eunuchs. They're not hardworking eunuchs. No, they're just plain old eunuchs. And I keep saying to myself, John, well, at least it's left-wing lunatics and soft-minded idiots that are doing this to themselves. And I know that in many cases, children grow up in their family and they become the same political party as the rest of their family. Well, that's not entirely 100% true, but it is, I would say, probably more of the rule than the exception. So these children that are having this done to them, allowed, empowered by their parents to make these decisions, I'm sure the parents are a bunch of liberal fucks, and the kids are going to grow up to be the same. So they may as well be eunuchs, I guess, so they can't reproduce. Unbelievable. The hypocrisy, the stupidity, it's astounding. Are you prepared, folks? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. They're coming after us. They're in overdrive. They're not going to quit. They're going to continue to screw everything up they can. They want to have a physical purge of us. Unbelievable. Well, guess what? Right? The mayor of Washington, D.C., that's right, they have a mayor there in D.C., is made that, absolutely made that city a sanctuary city. Right? I believe Mayor Bowser is her name, and she's a bow wow if I ever saw one. But certainly dim or dumb as a dumbass dog could be. She's now upset, folks. She's now upset, and she wants it stopped. Well, what does she want stopped? Well, the bus is full of illegal immigrants being shipped to Washington, D.C. from Texas and Arizona. That's what she wants stopped. Well, wait a minute. I thought we need to be nice to illegals that come here. Isn't it racist? Isn't it racist and white supremacist and bad to tell people they can't come into our country? Unbelievable, folks. I love it. I love the fact that they've been doing this and they continue to do it. And now it's a problem. Now Mayor Muriel Bowser, right, can deal with the problem that she thinks is just freaking cute. Well, she's gone to the president. She's gone to the government and said, please make this stop. Make it stop. Well, the only way you can stop it is if you close the border. Otherwise, people can put people on buses wherever they want and send them wherever they want. Once you're inside the country, you've got free travel, right? It's racist to do anything else. Well, unless you're a Democrat racist, of course. Of course, folks. I mean, where do we go? I don't know. Whatever it is that you want to talk about, please get it into Jolene. Get it into Jolene, folks. We've got woke rejection, right? They're not only rejecting themselves as just described, but there's more woke rejection, right? Here we are. There was a shooter, a crazed lunatic who his supporters are very upset that he was killed because he was having mental problems, right? So the anti-cop lunatics go to the neighborhood where this shooting happened, and the victim, the lady this idiot was shooting. Okay, imagine a man shooting at a woman and her two kids through the walls into her apartment. The police end up having to come and kill the guy. And the anti-cop lunatics are protesting, and this lady went out and gave him the riot act. Right? Yeah, he needed to be shot because he had a gun and was shooting at her and her kids. Right? The people are now rejecting this. Now, the people, but first, the anti-cop lunatic protesters were white and in their 30s and 40s millennials. I mean, I think I saw some Gen Xers too. But yeah, complete idiots. Once again, white BLMers, fools. But it's being rejected. It's being rejected. Here's another woke rejection story. There is a Twitter group called Gays Against Groomers. That's right, Gays Against Groomers. And a lesbian went on there and condemned grooming of children. And folks, the wokies are going nuts over this. The libtards are losing it. right? Now, this is what this one gay against groomer lesbian had to say. She said, "This is a heartbreaking reality of what the woke activists have done to our community with their push to sexualize and indoctrinate children. So many of us feel this way. Had we known this is what our fight for equality would have led to, we wouldn't have fought for it at all." It goes to show you, right? I'm not going to give them any sympathy. They're getting exactly what they asked for. But that's how they start, and they demand a little, and you're like, okay, come out of the closet, right? But they just keep demanding, and they've gone right off the cliffs of insanity, into overdrive, right? To the stratosphere. I remember years ago, Tom DeLay, representative out of Texas, Republican, talked about a lot of the things the Democrats would be pushing for. And one of them was to legalize pedophilia. And I thought, what? This is like 20 years ago, folks. I was like, that is so off the freaking planet crazy. No, it's true. Look at what we have. Chelsea Clinton, same story. Pushing for the normalization that it's a lifestyle. Unbelievable, folks. And now people can claim to be, gender fluid, sexuality fluid, whatever they want. And you're supposed to accept it. Folks, it's all overdrive and it's all crazy. It truly is. Right? It truly is. And there is no real huge end to it, folks. Listen to this thinking here coming from none other than the vice president. You think we're in trouble, or do you think everything's fine? Should you sell all your preps, or should you double down and go to the club and buy what you need? Kamala Harris, vice president, says she's basically suggesting that being pro-life is the same as supporting slavery. Quote, "Our country has a history of claiming ownership over human bodies." Now, wait a minute. I think she has a point there, right? I agree 100% with camel toes, folks. The U.S. government steals my human effort by confiscating money in all forms of taxation. Whether I buy something or I do some work or something good happens in my life, they're there to take from me as if they've got a chain around my neck. Does the government own me? Well, no, I'm supposed to be free. Does the government own my labor? No, I'm supposed to be able to do what I want with my body, right? But then why do they enforce taxes with guns and badges? Let's listen to, our country has a history of claiming ownership over human bodies. Okay, well, I think that the Democrat Party has a history of claiming ownership over me and my property and what I can spend my money on and what I can do, like guns, for example. They claim ownership over my right, right? It's funny, yeah, the government can do whatever it wants as long as it agrees with camel toes and her policies, So I just got to say, hey, wake up, Demtards. Government owns us all, or pretends to own us, right? The Constitution is supposed to make some things very, very clear, right? So the government pretends to own us, and they love it, well, until they don't love it. But your precious Gina, right? It's owned by the government. And if the government didn't own your Gina, how can they tell you that you can or can't use it to make money in the oldest profession, right? That's right. They tell us what to do with our bodies all the time, but it's the U.S. Constitution that's in the way, folks. The U.S. Constitution is what's restraining the government right now. There is nothing else stopping Joe Biden from doing the worst things possible, the worst things imaginable. It's the Constitution. He wants to forcibly inject you, folks. The Constitution stopped him. He wants to come and get your ARs, just like Beto said. Damn right, we're coming for your ARs. What stopped him? The Constitution. The Constitution stopped him. You have a right to walk about, move about, travel about. You have that right. You have the right to protection from government interference, government spying, all kinds of crap. The government wants to do it stopped by the Constitution. Remember that, folks. It is only the Constitution. If it wasn't there, Biden would do insane things. Nancy Pelosi would pass insane laws that make what we're dealing with now pale in comparison. They wouldn't say kids have an option to take puberty blockers. They would mandate it. You bet they would. They'd say, you have to wait until you're 20 or 25 or 30 to choose whether or not you even want to grow up. Right? The government could mandate whatever it wanted if there weren't restrictions in place called the U.S. Constitution. Folks, it's in overdrive. Whether we're talking about John Kerry, energy in Europe, politicians, war, they're in overdrive right now, crashing, crunching, and destroying everything. Are you ready for what comes next? It is just an unbelievable, folks, unbelievable mess that we're dealing with. But let's do this. It is the half-hour mark. We're going to do the Q&A, and it is now your turn. So let's see your questions.
Are you ready?
Oh, yeah, there we go. Unbelievable. Oh, by the way, yeah, we're on subscribestar.com, and we're at thepreparedmind.club, where you can sign up directly on those two websites to watch this video. Join us on the premium side live Monday through Friday. Oh, but by the way, Patreon has contacted us. That's right, folks. Another woke company contacts us and invited us to, get this, they invited the Prepared Mind to join their ambassador program. I'm sure that they would welcome me on their board, their ambassador program. They can kiss my ass. Unbelievable, folks. That's how stupid these people are. Oh, sorry about that, John. Would you like to be part of our ambassador program and welcome other channels? Yeah, go fuck yourselves. Unbelievable. Okay, Jolene, where do we want to start on this Monday in the Q&A? And it's Who's Your Life 67. Thank you again for that great scotch and stogie. There's music in the background. Yep, there it is. I got you. Okay. I forgot that was there. You're not stroking out, man. There's on our platform, it has options for putting music in the background. Of course, you see the highlights, the reels, the news stories, the transition pieces, and I just left that on. So you're good, man. You're good. All is well. So user 29D918221I. That is one heck of a top secret anonymous description. He says, I know a country pounding war drums, but they have made enemies with other countries and within their own country. How can they expect to win? If we're talking about Ukraine, right? Ukraine has made enemies with other countries. They've made enemies within their own country. Well, we could also say the United States has made enemies with other countries and within their own country. How can they expect to win? I've listened to military experts, foreign policy experts. I've listened to political, shall we say, diplomats describe what they expected to happen in Ukraine. They expected Vladimir Putin to be scared and not do anything. They expected to roll over the top of Vladimir Putin and move NATO into Ukraine. They expected that. They expected that some more sanctions on Ukraine would scare Putin into quitting and giving up. They expected the Russian ruble to absolutely crumble and crash and go down in value once all of these worldwide sanctions came. They expected that. Well, the ruble did go down a little, but it is shot straight back up, way up, folks. The ruble is now the strongest currency on the planet. Imagine that. Imagine that. Russia is huge geographically, but they've got less than half of what our population here is in the United States of America. They've been being sanctioned for years and years and years and years by the West. Little sanctions here, little sanctions there. Europe as well. Bad Russia. Putin's a murderer. He's so bad, right? All of this stuff about Russia. So this tiny country now has a currency that is incredibly valuable. But they didn't expect that, folks. They expected Russia to go down. It's quite the opposite. I've read other people who say, look at what the Russians do. They watch other countries, who their political leaders are, their diplomats, their statesmen, their spokesmen, their military, and they study them. Folks, this is what an intelligent military and government does. It studies the enemy. It doesn't project their beliefs onto them. It says this is what they really do. And so you learn to deal with them on that level, and you know their weaknesses, and then you can crush them when it comes to confrontation. That is precisely what Putin and Russia have done. The rest of the world is just smashed right now. Germany, folks. Germany is the, shall we say, economic, productive engine of Europe. It's centered in Europe. It has the most jobs, the most technology, the most factories. It is the working hub, the biggest working hub for productivity in Europe. They now have zero natural gas coming from Russia. People there are now panicking. Russia says, or Gazprom, we're not going to have the gas turned back on July 22nd. We may not have it turned back on, period. You guys have dicked with us over our equipment, and so we're done. Russia, folks, has not been hurt by any of this. They cooked up a deal just today. The same Mohammed bin Salman, MBS, Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Putin went and met with him, worked out a deal, right? They'll sell Russian oil to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia will turn around and raise the price and sell it to us. Putin wins. Saudi Arabia wins. They're all fine, folks. It's unbelievable. All our government has done is humiliate itself in front of the world. Biden has humiliated himself, humiliated and embarrassed the United States of America. Yeah, they can't expect to win. They think they should have won already. They can't and here's the other part is they can't understand. You ask a great question. How can they expect to win? We have to have an understanding, right? It's like these kids that believe, well, I think I'm a dog, therefore I'm a dog, or I believe I'm a female, even though I have XY chromosome, but so I should be. Well, no. Your belief system has nothing to do with reality. There can be a total disconnect with the human mind between reality and fantasy. That's what all of these idiots are doing, is they're living little fantasy lives. I'm waiting for more of them to think they can fly and go jump off of bridges. It's unbelievable, folks. They're living in fantasy land. And so when reality doesn't jive with it, they get confused. They can't understand. They don't learn. Right? And folks, it's a problem everywhere. It's a huge problem everywhere. You know, there's a problem here in this country. There's a fantasy that if you just send money to Wall Street, you win. Well, Goldman Sachs has quietly lost $2.6 billion investing in bad stocks last year. Oh, wait, this should be the correction to the headline. Goldman Sachs has lost $2.6 billion of its investors' retirement money. Oh, it's way more than that, folks. The bank hasn't lost a penny of its own money, by the way, and they actually own more stock than ever. Same for Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan, Bank of America, et cetera, et cetera. Welcome, folks, to the satire, the sad, sad joke. The banks don't lose. They really don't. The money isn't destroyed. It's just transferred from one account to another. There is no money lost or destroyed on Wall Street. It is merely taken from one numbered account and placed into another. Little accounting gimmick, right? The bank, let's take JP Morgan, for example. Stock can be worth $100. They can sell off all their stock, drop the price down to 60, right? Make their investors sell off theirs, and then they buy it all back at 60, right? They just save 40%, the bank. They buy back all the stock. The price goes back up or up a little bit. It's a big sham. The whole thing is a giant sham. Anyways, enough of my pontificating, right? Greg Madera checks in and says, do you think Dr. Doom will ever be held accountable for his atrocities? Well, little Dr. Doom, he came out today and he basically let the world know that his career is coming to an end. It's coming to an end, coming soon. At the end of Joe Biden's term, he's going to retire. That's interesting, folks. Joe Biden, it's now being predicted he's not going to make it to the end of his term, period. Like he's losing his mind very quickly. I didn't think he would make it 6 months, folks. They got him on some good medication. But back to Dr. Doom, Dr. Fauci. He thinks he's just going to retire. Does he think he's going to go, live in a gated community? He's going to go down and play pickleball or pinochle. He's going to play canasta. I mean, what does he think he's going to do? I think the world is not going to forget who he is. They're not going to forget who he is. And I believe he will at some point be held accountable for his atrocities. And atrocities they are. Atrocities against children, against toddlers, against infants, against pregnant mothers, against fathers or would-be fathers. Huge atrocities, folks. I think over the weekend, like 50 people in Italy died on the beach of heart attack. Like they just suddenly died. Well, that's just perfectly normal, I guess. No, it's not. It's not. I mean, to come up with a sudden adult death syndrome to explain what they've literally done to humans everywhere, trying to say, oh, yeah, we've got some new mystery disease. I don't think it's a mystery at all, folks. I really don't. It is incredible. Let me see if I can find that article for you guys. It was incredible. Yeah. All around the world, they've absolutely had it with what's going on, folks. I think that he will be held accountable. Now, in Panama, they have skyrocketing inflation. Demonstrators and vehicles are blocking the roads. It looks like millions of people are out, folks. There is a huge protest against globalism and the effects. The effects of what, you say? The effects of Dr. Fauci's policies. Right. Now back to Joe Rogan and calling Canada communist. An 86-year-old man, Canadian man, was detained for not downloading the health app to submit mandatory health info to the Canadian government. In other words, he said, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to get your app. I'm not going to give you my information. It's none of your fucking business. So he gets temporarily detained. Folks, when you're detained, you're detained. These people are really just screwed up. They are on SHTF overdrive. They really are. Well, a California school board is considering putting a Planned Parenthood clinic on a high school campus. That's how sick these people are, folks. That's how they're just running top speed into destruction. Yeah, Biden's going to be held, not Biden. Biden should be held accountable. He should be, folks. This Dr. Levine wants to empower children to go on puberty blockers. Unbelievable. I mean, I don't think Joe Rogan was direct enough calling Canada communist and saying Trudeau is a fucking dictator. I don't think he's gone far enough. I really don't. Where these people have taken us, folks, unbelievable. We've got Latin America preparedness. He says HR 4350 is a bill to give the president more power. The bill will turn the military to the president and can be used against extremists. What suggestions do you have to stop the bill to go into effect? Well, this is where we say prep to action. You have to be a prepper. We have to expect this sort of thing to happen. They want to turn the military into a woke, idealistic, communist war machine. They're driving out patriots, even though the courts are saying, no. You can't kick people out for refusing to take the Jim Jones juice. They're doing everything they can to demoralize the military, folks, with all of this woke garbage. Absolute woke, and I mean woke garbage. Why would you want to serve in the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Air Force, if you're being told you have to call the fruitcakes by the proper pronouns? And then I just covered this the other day. I think it was just last night on the Zoo, is that the Air Force is going to, the Navy is going to do a pilot program, which means it's permanent. They've already decided they like it. But they're going to start feeding fake meat to sailors. There's your soy meat, testicle shrinking garbage right there. They're taking over the military. They're chasing out all the real patriots, all the real Americans, chase them out. Well, what they're going to be left with, though, are a bunch of sissies who how can they be expected to fight World War III or fight against American patriots if they can't even handle a discussion that triggers their poor little feelings? It's unbelievable what they're doing to themselves in order to screw us over. To stop the bill, call your congressman, write your senators, email, text, phone call, comment section, sign petitions, do everything you can to tell them no, HR 4350 out of here. Now understand and remember this as well. This November, we vote. They think in Washington, D.C., they can vote to change the Constitution. They can't. They don't have enough intelligence to do it properly. I don't believe that the political will exists in this country, folks, to do anything more than sit around and cry about it up in D.C. But if we get the red wave, and I pray we do, folks, I pray that we have a complete flip in the House and the Senate over to Republican power, and that we get rid of the pieces of shit like McCarthy and Turtle McConnell and get real leadership, real America first, real make America great again, patriotic conservatives who believe in the Constitution and liberty and freedom first. You've got to get that fire in your belly. You've got to get mad. Don't do anything illegal, irrational, stupid, harmful, or dangerous. But get mad and get some energy and get out there and take the lead. Right? When I was younger in my 20s, I used to think, oh man, who would sit in front of a store and have people sign a petition? Now, whenever I go somewhere, folks, and I see someone sitting down and they've got petitions, I say, what do you got? I'll walk over there and take the time. And if it's a bunch of liberal shit, I'll tell them that I think it's a bunch of liberal shit. And if it's pro-America, pro-freedom, pro-liberty, pro-Constitution, I'll tell them, good job. I appreciate you taking the time. Sign everything, right? Because I want our freedoms recognized by the government. The freedoms exist. They never went away. Our freedoms are inalienable. They're always innate to us. It's just whether or not we know it and whether or not we're willing to enforce it. And that's where the Second Amendment and the First Amendment come in, folks. Free speech. Voting is part of expressing your political beliefs, your political will, your political soul. It's so important, folks, so incredibly important that we recognize our freedom. It's a right. I don't have to ask government for permission to be free, and neither do you. Get involved. That's my recommendation. All right, Jolene, what have we got next? We got Charlanator checking in. Thought for the day. Chip shortage for cars is helping the dealerships and banks from having a glut of extra cars they can't sell due to higher interest rates and inflation. Well, we've got that going on, don't we? We got all kinds of manipulation going on. In order to fix this mess, they'll create another mess over here so you can hide that one, right? The government, the federal government, is busier than an 8-legged cat trying to bury shit from 12 of its sisters, right? They're just paws and sand flying everywhere. Now, yeah, they went into all kinds of trouble. They created shortages with Cerveza bug. Right now, not only is there a car glut, well, unfinished car glut, but we're starting to have repossession issues. The repossessions of cars have started. They're going up now. What's that mean? People can't afford to make their car payments. People can't afford to make or buy new cars at the new higher interest rates. So how do you solve this problem? Well, if you're the government, you do more subsidies, more free money, more rebates, make things cheaper. Well, someone has to pay for it, folks. There's always a price to be paid. There's always a price to be paid. Higher interest rates, inflation, it's killing what is left of the United States of America's economy. People can't afford to buy as much house. They can't afford to buy as much car. People that were trying to afford to buy houses and cars aren't making the payments. That's right. They're really screwing it up. They're saying recession next year, recession next year. Well, a lot of, shall we say, experts are saying, no, the recession is already here. We've had 18 months of Biden policy. The recession's already here, right? Do you have to wait until the line goes down and down and down, all the way down to recession to know that that's where it's heading? No, you shouldn't have to wait until everyone is starving to go, I think we got a food crisis here. No, you can tell long, long, long before it gets there that there's lots of crisis. Whew. I tell you, folks, we got James Nicholson checking. He says, afternoon, John, I'd like to share a thought. Children are being encouraged to take puberty blockers to help cover up that they're sterile from having taken the jabberoo. Well, I tell you what, that's going to be a problem. The Jim Jones juice, which is Bill Gates's, well, he's largely responsible for a lot of the technology in it, folks. He was talking about a pandemic and the need to have Jim Jones juice ready years before they finally launched COVID at us. They practiced, folks, with SARS. They practiced on people's minds with the swine flu, with the Zika virus, scaring people, while they developed their anti-life serum, tested it in countries in Africa, in India. They sterilized men and women with their Jim Jones juices that they were using. Oh, we're here to help you. We're going to give you free good stuff. So yeah, I believe they know what this stuff does. So children, boys, yeah, take some puberty blockers. Oh, that's why you're sterile, because these same idiots will have their parents who are idiots tell them, yeah, you need to go get the stick. You need to go get the jab. You need to go get the juice and the booster. Folks, in 10 years, 20 years, they're sterile. They're done. Puberty blockers are a guarantee, and also the fall culprit, the blame. The blame game will be, oh yeah, we made a big mistake with all that stuff. Well, the population's going to have to go down. Same with women, young girls. They're screwing them up left and right, folks. Who is going to be the baby makers? Those of us who said, not taking it. Now, me, I'm out of the game officially. I'm too old to play that game. No Daddy John. Had my kids already. Right? But those who have refused to take it, that are still fertile, they are going to be the hope for the future, folks. They're going to be the hope for the future. That they have normal, fertile children themselves. So it comes down to who's going to tell us what to do. Well, I'm going to tell me what to do until the day I die. I hope you're the same way. Right? This government is sick, folks. They want to control and tear everything down. Georgia Guidestones bring the population down to 500 million. All right, we got Mikey G. He says, are the unions going to strike or what? The railroads. Oh, yeah, they're going to strike. The unions have run the ports. How is it that for 50 years, no, 75 years, no, 100 years, 200 years, since before the country was even founded, human beings knew how to run a port, how to offload and load up ships, how to take the products that come off the ship, put it on a horse and carriage. No, put it on a semi-truck, put it on a train, and get it out of the port. Unload the ships in a very fast and timely way. Humans for hundreds of years knew we need bigger ships. We need bigger ports. We need bigger cranes. We need better transportation. They built all of this up to where we're at today. Huge inter-country, intercontinental infrastructure, distribution system. All of a sudden, they can't figure out how to unload ships. I see it. Hang on to that thought right there. Leave it on the screen. It's unbelievable, folks, that they can't figure it out. Railroad strike, will it affect Amtrak? Quite possibly. It just depends on which union. You see, all of a sudden they can't unload trains. They can't unload people. They can't run anything at all. They don't know what they're doing. All of a sudden they can't figure out, well, if we need 100 gigawatts of power and we're trying to make do with 80, yeah, we're going to have blackouts and problems on peak load days. They haven't figured that out. You see, I keep coming from this perspective of there's a problem and you take it head on and you fix it, right? That's what you do with problems. What caused the problem? What's the solution? You do the solution. These people don't give a shit about solutions. We've got problems with the train system, whether it's Amtrak or freight. What do? We're going on strike. The unions want to go on strike because inflation is high. Cost of living went up, and they want to make sure they get their money first. So the unions go on strike and just make everything worse. They fuck up everything even worse and make even more pronounced shortages. Cause even more business disruptions. Unbelievable. Bonnie Blue 2A checks in and says, statement, heat warnings across much of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and Europe this week. Stay hydrated, keep electrolytes balanced, and so outdoor work sparingly in the coolest parts of the day. That's right, folks. Guess what they're having problems with in Europe as well as the US? Well, electricity. Folks, it's so hot in England, they're like, we need air conditioning. Guess what England normally doesn't have? They don't normally have air conditioners. It just doesn't get that hot there all that often. Yeah. They want to punish everyone, folks, and we're being punished. Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense. They're punishing us, all of us, worldwide. Whether you're Vincent in Belfast, Ireland, or Remy in the Netherlands, or whether you're a red-blooded American, anywhere in our great country, they're trying to punish us. They want to win this game. You think the rich people are going to go without their fuel, their food? You think they're going to line up and eat bugs? Not a fucking chance. They're not going to eat bugs, folks. They may get some sick little tart like Nicole Kidman to sit down with a plate full of beetles and eat them with her ivory chopsticks off of her silver plate. But no. I think Bill Gates should go to prison after he's tried, found guilty of war crimes crimes against humanity, other atrocities. And I think he should spend the rest of his life eating nothing but bugs. Unbelievable. Just unfreaking believable, folks. Where are we at? We're at an hour. $44 billion in Cerveza-bug money was sent to states, but only if they pushed critical race theory in schools. The SHTF is in overdrive, folks. Right? Critical race theory teaches hatred, division of the races, superiority over European races, demonizing our nation, our parents, ourselves. It's bad for children. It's bad for America. No wonder the Democrats love it. No wonder the Rhino Republicans defend it. We're in big trouble, folks. Are you prepared? Food, water, shelter, clothing, medicine, means of self-defense, and a plan. Blue Core Devil checks in, says, John, if this is the music you listen to, we're going to do an intervention. The music's off. Isn't the music off? I thought I turned it off. I was just playing with gizmos, man. I was playing with gizmos. I have the sound turned off on my computer. No beeps, no boops, no music. I didn't hear anything. In fact, I'm half deaf anyway. So no, that's not the music. I like my 80s and 70s and even some 60s rock and roll, real music. But you guys understand this. Shit has hit the fan. The preparedmind.club is your store. Joining for $2 a month, 7 cents a day. That's what we need you to do. I know you guys here live at this very moment have done it. But if you're on YouTube, we need you to sign up at the preparedmind.club or subscribestar.com. Sign up and help support our effort to continue as we have for the last 9 years, going on 10 years this December. Spreading the word about getting prepared, the need to prepare. Who are the problems? What is happening? And what can you expect to come next? That's where we're at. Chance favors the prepared mind. Aren't you glad you are a prepper? Semper Fi to you means always faithful. Faithful to country. Faithful to what you know to be true in your heart and your head. God bless America. God save the world from these globalist scum. Get prepared. I'll see you guys bright and early.